This is why men often feel a visceral frustration when they encounter what they perceive as fakeness in women. You might see a partner being incredibly polite to a friend she privately despises. You might watch as a social influencer curates a life of perfection while her reality is in shambles. The masculine instinct, driven by a desire for objective facts, looks at this and screams, "This is a lie. This is inauthentic." But Machiavelli would stop you. He would tell you that you are judging a stratagem by the wrong metric. You are judging a diplomat by the rules of a gladiator. Let's look at a historical example that Machiavelli himself witnessed. Caterina Sforza, the Countess of Forlì, was one of the most formidable women of the Italian Renaissance. When her enemies besieged her fortress and threatened to kill her children if she did not surrender, she didn't collapse. She climbed the ramparts, lifted her skirts to expose herself, and shouted down to the army that she had the mold to make more. It was a piece of theatricality so shocking, so bold, that it froze her enemies. It was a psychological masterstroke. She didn't have the soldiers to defeat them, so she used a display of primal, terrifying feminine power to alter the perception of the battlefield. She utilized the appearance of insanity and ferocity to preserve her state. In the modern day, this dynamic remains, though the stakes are social rather than martial. The masculine nature places a premium on social cohesion and reputation because for millions of years, exile from the tribe meant death. The mask that men find so frustrating is actually a sophisticated form of armor. When a woman navigates a social situation with ambiguity, or when she prioritizes how a decision looks over how it works, she is operating on an ancient biological imperative that prioritizes safety through social standing. The mistake men make is demanding that the feminine drop the mask and just be direct. It is a demand for disarmament. A Machiavellian analysis suggests that you should stop trying to tear down the veil of appearance. Instead, learn to respect it as a tool of the fox. Do not get angry at the performance. Understand its purpose. Machiavelli teaches us to look for the effectual truth. The effectual truth is not what people say, it is what they do and the outcome they achieve. If you understand that feminine nature prioritizes the maintenance of the social fabric, you will stop expecting it to operate like a blunt instrument. You will realize that the lie is often just a lubricant for social survival. To navigate this, you must become astute enough to read the reality behind the performance without resentfully demanding that the performance end. The prince does not hate the game, he masters it. If the first secret is about the mask, the second secret is about the motion. We move now to the core of Machiavelli's metaphor for Fortuna, and by extension, the feminine spirit. He compares it to a violent, rushing river. "I compare her to one of those raging rivers," Machiavelli writes, "which when in flood overflows the plains, sweeping away trees and buildings. Everyone yields to their fury without being able to oppose them in any way." This imagery captures the single greatest source of male suffering in relationships, the expectation of emotional consistency. The masculine mind, at its best, operates like architecture. It seeks to build structures that are solid, logical, and immovable. A man wants a relationship to be like a house, a place where the walls stay where he put them, where the foundation is static. But the nature of the river is movement. The river is life-giving when it is calm. It irrigates the fields and allows civilization to flourish. But it is capable of sudden, terrifying floods that defy logic. One moment it is serene, the next the banks have burst and the water is black with mud. Men often ruin their lives trying to debate the river. When a woman is in a state of high emotional volatility, when the floodwaters are rising, the average man tries to build a dam out of logic. He says, "You shouldn't feel this way because facts A, B, and C prove you are wrong." He tries to argue the water into submission. This is a fatal error. You cannot debate a storm. You cannot use a syllogism to stop a tsunami. By trying to impose rigid logic on fluid emotion, the man only increases the turbulence. He becomes another obstacle in the water, creating more friction, more noise, and more destruction. Machiavelli, however, does not suggest we simply surrender to the flood and drown. He offers a solution rooted in foresight and Stoicism. He writes that while we cannot control the river when it floods, it does not follow that when the weather is calm, we cannot take precautions, constructing dikes and dams. This is the secret. The time to handle the chaos of feminine nature is not when the chaos is happening. It is when things are calm. Building dikes and dams is a metaphor for cultivating your own emotional fortitude, your boundaries, and your resources. It means establishing a frame of reality that is so strong, so rooted in competence and self-assurance that when the emotional storm hits, you are not washed away. In modern psychological terms, we know that women, on average, score higher in trait neuroticism, which is not a pejorative term, but a measure of sensitivity to negative emotion and environmental threats. This sensitivity is necessary for the species. It detects danger before it arrives. It is the radar system of humanity. But a radar system is prone to false alarms. The man who understands this secret stops taking the volatility personally. He realizes that the shifting moods, the sudden tests, and the mercurial changes are not necessarily attacks on him. They are the nature of the river. If you are a man who crumbles every time the emotional weather changes, you are unsafe. You are a house built on sand. Feminine nature deeply respects the man who can witness the flood without being moved by it. This is not about being cold or unfeeling. It is about being the bank that holds the river. The bank gives the river direction. Without the containment of the masculine dike, the feminine river becomes destructive to itself and everything around it. When you stop trying to force the feminine to be static and logical, and instead accept its fluidity as a feature of nature, you liberate yourself. You stop asking, "Why is she like this?" and start asking, "How strong are my dams?" You realize that peace is not found in the absence of the storm, but in the capacity to endure it. The chaos is the engine of life, but it requires the order of the prince to channel it into something beautiful. The third secret brings us to the mechanics of power itself. In the world of men, power is often synonymous with direct action. If you want the territory, you invade. If you want the position, you compete. If you have a problem, you confront it. It is the way of the sword, linear, visible, and explicit. But Machiavelli observed that there is another form of power, one that is subtler and often more effective. This is the power of indirect action, and it is here that the feminine genius resides. While men are busy fighting wars of attrition, feminine nature is fighting a war of influence. This is the concept of soft power. It is the ability to shape the preferences and behaviors of others through attraction, persuasion, and subtext, rather than through coercion or payment. The mistake many men make is assuming that because a woman is not using direct aggression, she is not making a power move. This is a dangerous underestimation. When a woman uses withdrawal of affection, when she utilizes silence, or when she employs the strategic display of vulnerability, she is deploying a form of warfare that the masculine mind is often ill-equipped to defend against. Consider the archetype of the damsel in distress. In biological terms, this is not weakness, it is a high-level strategy. By signaling vulnerability, the feminine triggers the deep evolutionary protection instinct in the male. The man rushes in to solve the problem, to fight the dragon, to fix the tire. He feels strong and useful. But step back and look at the dynamic. Who is actually in control? The one doing the labor, or the one who inspired the labor to be done?
Machiavelli warns the prince that he must adapt to the spirit of the times. If you try to fight indirect power with direct aggression, you will look like a tyrant. If a woman uses shame or social pressure to guide your behavior and you respond by yelling or becoming physically intimidating, you have already lost. You have brought a sledgehammer to a chess match. The optics, referencing our first secret, will turn against you. You will be seen as the aggressor, even if you felt you were merely defending yourself. To navigate this, the modern man must learn the art of the velvet hand. You must learn to read the subtext. You must understand that when a complaint is made, it is rarely about the surface-level issue. It is an indirect signal about how she feels regarding your power and your presence. Machiavelli teaches that a ruler must be a great pretender and dissembler. This doesn't mean you should be fake. It means you should be controlled. When faced with indirect pressure, the strongest response is often an indirect one, a raised eyebrow, a strategic silence, a refusal to be baited, or a playful misinterpretation of the attack. This is about realizing that submission, in the feminine sense, is often a form of leadership from below. It is the neck turning the head. A man who is blind to this will feel constantly manipulated, running around trying to satisfy shifting demands. But a man who sees the mechanism of soft power can enter into a symbiotic alliance with it. He understands that he must provide the hard power, the competence, the resources, the physical security. In exchange, he accepts the influence of the soft power, but only when it aligns with his vision. He listens to the whisper, but he decides whether or not to draw the sword. By respecting the power of indirect action, you stop seeing it as mind games and start seeing it as a language. It is a language of nuance, of gesture, and of tone. If you refuse to learn this language, you will forever be the foreigner in your own home, confused by a politics you are too stubborn to understand. We have walked through the streets of Florence and peered into the mechanics of the human soul. We have looked at the mask, the river, and the velvet hand. But what is the ultimate purpose of this knowledge? Is it to control women? Is it to win arguments? No, the purpose is to master yourself. Machiavelli's philosophy is often dismissed as cynical, but at its heart, it is a call to radical responsibility. He famously wrote that Fortuna is a woman, and that to master her, she must be beaten and coerced. Now, in our modern sensibilities, we recoil at the violence of that 16th century metaphor, but strip away the archaic aggression and look at the philosophical core. Machiavelli is telling us that chaos yields only to competence. He is saying that the feminine element of the universe, the unpredictable, the fluid, the wild, craves the presence of a masculine ordering principle. The river does not want to drown the village, it wants banks to guide it to the sea. The mask does not want to deceive, it wants to feel safe enough to be removed. The indirect action does not want to manipulate, it wants to know that the leader is strong enough to not be swayed by mere whims. A man cannot control the feminine nature outside of him until he has ruthlessly conquered the masculine nature inside of him. If you are weak, if you are reactive, if you lack purpose, Fortuna will crush you. Not because she hates you, but because it is her nature to test the structural integrity of everything she touches. To be a modern Machiavellian is not to be a tyrant, it is to be a sovereign. It is to possess a mind that is not clouded by wishful thinking. You must see the world as it is. You must accept that optics matter. You must accept that emotions are volatile. You must accept that power is often invisible. When you stop fighting reality, you can finally begin to shape it. You can build your dikes and dams. You can sharpen your discernment. You can stand in the middle of the storm, unmoving, grounded in your own virtue. The world is waiting for the prince who understands the goddess. It is waiting for the man who can dance with Fortuna without losing his footing. The question is not whether the storm is coming. The storm is always coming. The question is this: will you be swept away or will you rise?
Imagine Florence in the year 1513. To walk these streets is to walk through a contradiction. On the surface, it is the center of the world, a city of marble and gold, where Michelangelo carves divinity out of stone and Da Vinci sketches the future. But look closer. Beneath the artistic splendor lies a city of suffocating paranoia. This is a place where a smile is often a prelude to a dagger, where the wine might be poisoned, and where your closest ally today is your executioner tomorrow. In a farmhouse just outside these city walls, an exiled man sits alone at a wooden desk. He has been stripped of his title, tortured on the rack, and cast out by the Medici family he sought to serve. His hands are scarred, his spirit bruised, but his mind is sharper than ever. This man is Niccolò Machiavelli, and in the silence of his exile, he begins to write a small book that will disturb the sleep of kings for the next 500 years. Most people know Machiavelli as the teacher of tyrants, the father of manipulation, but this is a shallow reading. Machiavelli was not a villain, he was a traumatized realist. He was a man forced to look at the world not as it should be, but exactly as it is. And his greatest adversary, the force he spent his life trying to understand, was not a specific duke or a rival pope. It was a force he called Fortuna. To the ancients, and to Machiavelli, Fortuna was the goddess of luck, chance, and chaos. She was the personification of the unpredictable nature of reality itself. And crucially, Machiavelli insisted that Fortuna was a woman. He posited that the universe operates through a tension between two forces: virtu, the masculine spirit of order, skill, and will, and fortuna, the feminine spirit of volatility, circumstance, and fluidity. If you are a man trying to navigate the modern world, you are likely struggling with this same ancient tension. You may find yourself confused by the shifting dynamics of relationships, frustrated by behaviors that seem illogical, or exhausted by the need to decipher hidden meanings. You are trying to apply strict logic to a storm. You are trying to use a map for a terrain that shifts like the tides. What if the confusion you feel isn't a failure of your intellect, but a failure of your framework? To understand the feminine nature, whether in a partner, in society, or in the chaos of existence itself, we must open the dusty pages of the prints and the discourses. We must look past the politics and find the psychology. Machiavelli left behind a blueprint for dealing with the capricious nature of Fortuna. He encoded 3 specific secrets about the feminine spirit, secrets that move beyond modern gender wars and into the deepest roots of human survival. This is not about manipulation. It is about seeing the effectual truth of the world. It is about understanding the dance between the prince and the goddess. There is a line in The Prince that serves as the cornerstone of Machiavellian psychology. He writes, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." For centuries, men have read this as an instruction on how to lie. But if we apply this to the study of feminine nature, it reveals a profound evolutionary truth. The first secret is this: for the feminine archetype, optics are not merely vanity, they are a survival mechanism. Consider the history of human violence. For the vast majority of our species' existence, the masculine strategy for survival was overt. It was the way of the lion. If a man was threatened, he could rely on physical dominance, brute force, or direct aggression to secure his status or defend his life. His reality was immediate and physical. But the feminine reality was different. Historically, women could not rely on the way of the lion. To survive in a world of physically stronger aggressors, the feminine spirit had to master the way of the fox. Survival depended not on how hard you could hit,
but on how well you could maneuver within the social hierarchy. It depended on alliances, reputation, and the ability to project an image that discouraged attack or invited protection.